many of you ready for a word from the Lord today? Come on, stand to your feet. I need to jump right into this today. I got some information for you, a lot of information for you I got to give to you. So I want you to take some good notes. I got to go as far as I can until my time run out. So I want to jump right into it today. As you know, we're in a powerful sermon series entitled Building My Relationships. As you know, we have declared that 2023 here at Faith Movers is the year to build. Somebody shout, I'm building. And it is the year to build. And so we're building different areas of our lives. And so in this month, we've been talking about building in the area of our relationships. And please hear me good. This topic of relationships, it is so important because oftentimes, whether we know it or not, our relationships, it really is a reflection and representation of our relationship with God. So sometimes we got to be careful to handle relationships right, that we don't mess other people up. And at the same time, we have to understand that oftentimes God works through relationships. Would you be surprised if I told you that your next big blessing may not be coming directly to you, but it may be coming through somebody that you're connected to? Bump somebody and say, you better treat me right. You better treat, come on. Relationships is the currency of the kingdom, somebody said. They are the currency of the kingdom. It's how God bless, it's how God moves. And so we have to know how to appreciate relationships. Then at the end of the day, some of our lives just would be better if we got our relationships better. Bump somebody and say, he talking about you, he talking about you. And so today I want to continue a teaching that we've been doing for 2 weeks straight. This is the third week that we are still in this teaching entitled The Rules of Engagement. Everybody say rules of engagement. And today I want to continue this teaching. Let's go to our two main scriptures. Number one is James chapter 1 verse 19. Then secondly, I want to look at Amos chapter 3 verse 3. All right, James chapter 1 verse 19. Both were going to be read out of the New Living Translation, the NLT. When you have it, holler back at your boy, I got it. All right, James chapter 1 verse 19. It's perfect, Alfonso, right there. James chapter 1 verse 19 says, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters, you must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. Then Amos chapter 3 verse 3 says, can two people walk together without agreeing on the directions? Today we're doing part 3 of rules of engagement. You may be seated this morning in the presence of the Lord. Over the last couple of weeks, we've really been talking about the significance of relationships. And the first thing we highlighted was the effects that our relationships have on our everyday lives. And we said that regardless of the type of relationship we may be in, all of our relationships affects us in 3 ways. Everybody say 3 ways. Number one, they cause us to gain. Or number 2, they cause us to drain. Or number 3, they cause us to maintain. And when we say that our relationship causes us to gain, we're talking about they encourage us, they strengthen us, they empower us. When we talk about relationships that causes us to drain, now we are talking about relationships that deplete us, that leaves us lifeless. And then finally, when we mention relationships that causes us to maintain, we're talking about maintaining from 2 perspectives. They maintain us in a good way by being a blessing to us. They sustain us. They keep us going. Then the other side is these relationships, they block us. They cause us to be stagnant. Now, understanding how these relationships affect us it is very important because it helps us to realize why we feel the way we do about certain relationships in our lives. You see, the key to building healthy relationships is finding the balance. Somebody shout balance. In how you interact and how you engage with people who you are in relationship with. You can't have relationships all the time when you're the only one doing the gaining. You can't have relationships that are all the time are completely draining you. You can't have relationships that are people are blocking you and stopping you from getting to where God wants you to be. You got to have healthy relationships. And the only way to have these healthy relationships is you got to learn the balance of how to interact and engage with people who you are in relationship with. So what God did is God gave me something that I believe it puts all this together. It is called the rules of engagement. These are some spiritual and biblical rules for relationships that if we follow them, they will cause us to have productive and successful relationships. Now, last week we looked at the first 3 rules of engagement. Number 1, we said you've got to know your relationship capacity. Number 2, we said don't be a constant communicator of bad news. Touch somebody, say, don't do that, don't do that. And then thirdly, we said you have to evaluate who you let speak in your life. Now today we're going to go deeper and look at some additional rules of engagement. Are you ready? All right, here's number 4. Come on now, this is all new stuff. Number 4, the 4th rule of engagement is number 4, be a person of honor. Number 4, be a person of honor. Hear me good, church. You can tell a lot about a person's spiritual character by how they honor. How they honor God, how they honor their family, how they honor leadership, how they honor people they need, how they honor people they don't need, even how they honor strangers. You see, I like to define honor as this. Write this down now. It is the level of respect and reverence that a person shows towards something or someone. All right, that's honor. It is the level of respect and reverence that a person shows towards something or someone. And biblically speaking, when you begin to read the Bible, you will quickly understand that the Bible teaches us that there are certain relationships that we must honor. All right? We've got to honor God. Look at somebody and say, you got to honor God. The Bible teaches that we ought to honor our parents. God is so serious about us honoring our parents that he said, if you don't, your days can be shorter. Bump somebody and say, watch out, player, watch out. Come on. To all our married people, the Bible teaches us that we ought to honor our spouses. The Bible says that we ought to give honor to spiritual leadership. The Bible even encourages us to honor governmental leadership. Come on, the Bible tells us to honor our work relationships. Our bosses, our managers, we ought to honor them. And then if that wasn't enough, the Bible goes all the way to say you ought to honor all people. Come on, Romans chapter 12, verse 9, listen to it. It says, don't just pretend to love others. Really love them. Hate what is wrong. Hold tightly to what is good. Love each other with genuine affection and delight in honoring each other. That you ought to take pleasure in honoring each other, not hating on each other. See, you're not saying amen because we live in a culture where we take delight in bringing people down. Come on, you ain't saying amen, because we live in a culture where we take delight in hating on people. But how many of you know we ought not be trying to find ways to bring people down? We ought to be using our energy to try to lift people up. You see, I truly believe that when we really honor someone, you will be able to tell it by a person's action. Come on, let me give you this script. I believe the way you honor someone, number one, you got to speak well of them. You will not dishonor them with your speech. Number two, you got to serve them. If you honor somebody, you will be willing to serve that person. You'll work hard for them. You will serve a vision, a dream, an idea. Whatever they have, when you honor them, you will serve them. Thirdly, you will submit to them. You will voluntarily humble yourself to their leadership. You will respect their voice and their direction. When married people are married, wives, if they know they got an honorable husband, they have no problem honoring him, submitting to him. Here goes another one. When you really honor somebody, you will sacrifice for them. Here it goes. You will inconvenience yourself for them. And one of the great ways to know how much someone honors you is look at their willingness to inconvenience themselves for you. Because if someone honors you, they will allow themselves to be inconvenienced for you. Then here's the last one. When someone really honors you, you have to sow into them. You will invest your time, your talents, and your treasures. And please hear me good. When you are involved in a relationship with people and you speak well of them, you serve them, you submit to them, you sacrifice for them, you sow into them, you will always be seen as a gainer. Because people will gain from your presence because you will always be honoring them. And hear me good, never let people, hear me good, look at me, never let people make you feel bad for being a person of honor. Because you have some folk that'll talk about you. They'll mock you. They'll laugh at you because you always take the high road. They'll pick at you. They'll say you soft, you weak. You're letting people punk you because you always take the spiritual road. Can I encourage somebody? Whatever you do, don't ever let people pull you out of honor. Even if someone, hear me good, even if someone disrespects your kindness, don't worry about it. If you stay in honor, I'm here to tell you, God will take care of you. And can I just tell you very quickly what God will do for you if you stay in honor? If you stay in honor, number one, God will fight your battles. Oh, I wish I had some help up in here. Come on, how many people know if you stay in honor, if you take the high road, if you do what's right, even though folk may be doing you wrong, you don't have to fight nobody. You don't have to cuss nobody out. You don't have to get your pocket knife. You don't have to carry your peace on you. Why? Because God will fight your battles. You remember the story of Saul and David? When Saul was the king of Israel, but God had his hands on David, and Saul got jealous of David and was treating David all kind of ways, but David never dishonored the king. He stayed in honor. And because he stayed in honor, he didn't have to fight Saul. God himself took care of Saul. Ooh, see, not only will he fight your battles, but secondly, when you stay in honor, he will disprove your enemies. That everybody that's criticized you, everybody that tried to set traps for you, when you don't get on their level, when you stay in honor, God will put your enemies to shame. Come on, that's what he did for Daniel in Babylon. Daniel stayed high when everybody else was trying to get low. And because Daniel stayed high, God made Daniel's enemies a fool. God made Daniel's enemies look bad. What would not eat, Daniel ate them. Because when God has his hands on you and you stay in honor, God will cover you. God will protect you. And everything your enemies try to do to you, it'll bounce back on them. I'm trying to tell you, you got to stay in honor. Because when you stay in honor, God will fight your battles. He'll disprove your enemies. Some of y'all ain't smiled yet. I'm going to see if I'm going to get you right now. Thirdly, he will promote you in due season. Come on, man. If I could tell Joseph to walk on this stage, Joseph would tell you, no matter what people do to you, stay in honor. They may put you in the pit. They may lie on you and put you in prison. They may do everything they can to take your life. But if you honor God and you stay doing what's right, God will elevate you. God will promote you. Now, this may not be for everybody because all y'all may not be in honor, but I believe I got 50 people up in here that can say, Pastor Moses, I've been trying to do it the right way. Pastor Moses, I've been holding my tongue when I had a right to cuss them out. Pastor Moses, I've been keeping God's word. I've been taking the high road. What can I prophesy over your life? God told me to tell you that because you stayed in honor, your due season is about to arrive, and he's about to pull you up to the next level because you stayed in honor. Come on, somebody say, stay in honor. Here's the last one. When you stay in honor, here's the last one. God will make your name great. He'll make your name great. Like Jesus on that cross, he made his name great because he stayed in honor. And some of you are on a cross right now. And the Lord wants to know, would you stay in honor? The old folks said he never said a mumbling word. He just stayed in honor. Come on, you got folk right now while you on the cross, they laughing at you, they mocking you, they spitting at you. Oh, come on, just stay in honor. Because I'm telling you, if you stay in honor, there will not be shame when people call your name. I'm telling you, when they call your name, it won't be any shame to it, but there'll be a reverence to it. There'll be an honor to it because you would be an example of how God will raise you up when you stay in. And all I'm trying to tell you, y'all, is that I want every member of our church, every person who's watching, I want you to grow to a point that you live a life wherein you will not allow anyone to out-honor you. Be competitive about it. Don't let nobody out-honor you when it comes to you honoring God. I wish somebody would on my road try to outpraise me. I wish somebody would on my road try to be louder than me after all that God has done for me. You think I'm going to let you out honor? I wish I had time. Woo. Would you bump somebody and say, you're not going to out honor me when it comes to God? Try not to let your siblings out honor you when it comes to your parents. It's hard sometimes, but I try to tell my siblings, you ain't going to out honor me when it comes to honoring my mama. I'm going to try to beat all of y'all in doing it. Why? Because I want to be a person of honor. You ought not let no one out honor you when it comes to you honoring your pastor. Can't do it. But somebody say, you can't beat me, you can't beat me, you can't beat me, you can't beat me. I never forget. Reverend Lowe told me something a while back. We were talking, and it messed me up, and I still keep it. I use it today. I even use it with my pastor. Matter of fact, I told my pastor this the other week, but we were talking about something. I asked him if he would do something for me. I never forget his response. He said, Pastor, you don't have to ask me to do that. It kind of took me a little back. I said, huh? He said, no. He said, you don't have to ask me to do anything. He said, you tell me to do it. He said to me, I'll never forget, he said, Pastor, because I will never tell you no. He said, because of the level of honor, I never tell you no. You know, just last week I told my pastor, I said, Pastor, whatever you need, I will never tell you no. I don't care how it inconveniences me. I will never tell you no. Why? Because there's a level of honor that I have, and I'm trying to be the best at it. I don't want nobody to outdo me. I don't want nobody to outshine me when it comes to this issue of honor. Even when it comes to other people, you ought to make up in your mind, I'm going to be the nicest one. If everybody else is mean, if everybody else rolling their eyes, everybody else trying to have a mean face, I'm going to smile. I'm going to be welcoming. I'm going to be nice to strangers. Why? Because I'm called to honor, and I am a person of honor. And I'm telling you, when you think like that in your relationships, you will be someone that every time someone encounters you, you won't be draining them, but you'll be gaining and pushing great things in their life. Somebody shout honor. All right, talking about the rules of engagement. And the rules of engagement, y'all, you've got to know your relationship capacity. Don't be a constant communicator of bad news. Evaluate who you let what? Speak in your life. Number 4, be a person of, oh my God, number 5 is, it's finna get tough in here. All right, number 5, don't let people disrespect your time. All right, come on, let's go here. Can we go here? Somebody shout, go there, Pastor. All right, since you insist. Understand, one of the greatest gifts that God has ever given us is time. And one of the best ways really to honor someone is not by wasting their time. Understand this. The more God uses you, the more precious your time will become. This is why we have to understand something that I like to call the urgency of time. See, understanding the urgency of time means that a person understands that I only have a short amount of time to do what God has called me to do. You see, Psalms 90 verse 12 says this: teach us to realize the brevity of life so that we may grow in wisdom. The psalmist said, teach us, God, to realize the brevity, which is the shortness of time, of life. Because when we do that, we grow in wisdom. You see, we only have a certain amount of time to live here on this earth. This earth is not our eternal home. So don't get too comfortable here. Would you bump somebody and say, don't get too comfortable? Why? Because no, this earth is not our home. We are here on assignment. And hear me good. And once your assignment is up, your time is up. Which means if you're still alive, you still got an assignment. And hear me good. Wise people have a level of urgency when it comes to doing their assignment. You see, when we understand that we don't have a lot of time, we are intentional about not wasting our time. Notice what the Bible says in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 15. I love this from the English Standard Version. It says, look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of the time, because the days are evil. Do you see it? Wise people know how to leverage their time. And wise people will leverage their time for success. You see, most successful people will not let you waste their time because they want to use their time to produce success. And here's a model for you. If nobody ever gave you this, here's a model for you on how you can use your time. I believe this. Your time should be used, number one, to prepare. Number two, to pour. And number three, to produce. You ought to be using your time to prepare for something. And then you ought to be using your time to pour. You ought to be pouring into people, pouring and doing the assignment that you have. And finally, you ought to be producing. What good is it for you to be here on this earth and you're not producing? Don't insult God like that, because God don't make trash. God does not waste his creation. So if God made you, you are supposed to be producing something. Oh, shake somebody and say, it's time for you to start producing. Hear me good. And even in our relationships, we ought to use this model. Ask yourself the question about every person who you are in relationship with. What does this relationship pour into me? Oh, there's a little tight over there. And what do I pour into it? Here it goes. What is this relationship preparing me for? Here's another. What is this relationship producing? Is it producing mess? Or is it producing success? Would you bump somebody and say, figure it out, figure it out, figure it out? You see, if we're serious about our time, then we don't let people disrespect your time. And at the end of the day, hear me good, you got to be responsible for how your time is spent. So here's some ways, hear me good. So here's some ways you can respect someone's time. Write this down. Here's some ways you can respect someone's time. Number one, learn people's preferred method of communication. Not yours, but theirs. Because if you want their time, then you may have to compromise on the way you communicate with them. And I'm talking about in our society, is it call, talk, or text? Huh? Now, you may like to talk, but some folk like to text. See, someone like me, I think texting is the greatest thing that was ever created on earth. It's busy sometimes. It's hard to stop sometime and catch a phone call. Might be in a meeting. Might be studying. Might be on top of Lady Harris. I don't know. I might be doing. I ain't got time to stop. Would you bump somebody and say, I bet that woke you up, didn't it? I bet that woke you up. Come on. I ain't got time to stop what I'm doing. Would you bump somebody and say, sometimes you just can't stop? So here it goes. If I can text you, it may be easier for me. Now, you may get offended by that, but if you want somebody's time, you got to find out what works best for them. You see what I'm saying? You offended, you upset that somebody's not communicating with you, but you giving them what you want. And you're not understanding how y'all done got quiet on me. Y'all can't get over that, huh? All right, number one, come on, y'all come back. All right, learns people's preferred method of communication. Number two, here it goes, respect the principle of access. If someone gives you access to them, don't abuse your access. In other words, value people's presence. See, one thing technology has done, I believe, it has made us too common with one another. We see each other on social media all the time. We got immediate access to people all the time. But I remember growing up when there was no cell phones. And some of you can't imagine living without a cell phone, but I got some people old enough that know we didn't always have cell phones. We didn't always have social media. You could always get to people when you wanted to. Sometimes you just had to wait. You didn't always see people people every day. So when you did see them, you were happy to see them. You honored their presence because you wasn't too common with their presence. Are you hearing me? Don't take people's presence for granted. And this is why we have to humble ourselves and appreciate when people gives us access to their life. We've got to value it. Number 3, be considerate of other people's schedule and not yours. And not just yours. See the problem? Some of us like to bother people when we're not busy. But we won't make time for those same people when we're busy. And just because a time might be convenient for you does not mean it's a convenient time for someone else. Always be considerate of other people's time and schedule and not just yours. All right, here's the last one. Always check to see if it's a good time for somebody. When reaching out to someone, always start the conversation or the interaction by asking the question, is it a good time for you? Don't just assume people are available and waiting for you to show up. Because watch this, we have to create these boundaries, y'all. You got to create these boundaries because there are some people who will drain you. And they will not care what they have to do in order to get to you. They'll just get to you and drain the life out of you. You got to watch a drainer. Because a drainer just want to drain. They want to get theirs. Don't care if you get yours. A drainer. You got to be careful. You got to put boundaries to let people know you're going to have to respect my time. Y'all don't like this kind of preaching. All right, talking about rules of engagement. Number 1, know your capacity. Number 2, don't be a constant communicator of bad news. Number 3, evaluate who you let speak in your life. Number 4, be a person of honor. Number 5, don't let people disrespect your time. Number 6, gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight. Y'all gonna run me out of here. All right. All right, number 6, never put all your relationship eggs in one basket. Yeah, don't put your relationship eggs in one basket. Now, what I mean by this is this. Your relationships needs diversity. Because anytime you get so stuck in just one relationship and don't make time for any others, what you may not know is that one person that you're in relationship with, you are probably overwhelming them. Or if they won't tell you, I will, they're probably getting tired of you. Come on, I said it, you didn't. I said it. Because every relationship that we're in, hear me good, at some point, hear me good, at some point, it's going to eventually need some space. Hey, go, no matter who it is. Parents need space from their kids. The reality, kids need space from their parents. That's why somebody made school. Come on, school ain't just for learning. School is for everybody to get a break. Come on, you hear what I'm saying? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Spouses need space from each other. Friends need time apart from each other. On your job, that's why you work 8 hours. You can't be up in there all day. You'll have a record, do something crazy. Why? Because I got to have a cutoff time. I need space. Even in church, that's why you have a home and not to go to. Because we don't even need to be in church all day. And theologically, it's out of order for you to be in church all day. Because Jesus never called you to the church. He called you to the world. You only supposed to come here to get filled up, to go back out there and do your kingdom assignment. Hear me good. At any time, should be tight. At any time you're in relationships and people are reluctant to give you space, that might be a red flag. it might be a red flag that you might be dealing with a controlling spirit. Because I believe people need to experience, watch it, various kinds of relationship. Folk need to experience romantic relationships. Dating or to be married, you need to experience that, but that ain't the only kind you need to be experiencing. You also need family relationships. Right? Some things you do with your family, you can't always do with your spouse. I hope not. That's nasty. Come on. You got to have spiritual relationships. Come on, you need spiritual relationships. People who are spiritual, people who will pray with you, people who will hold you accountable. Spiritual, you need friends relationships. People who knew you before you spoke in tongues. Come on, people who knew you before you got so holy. People who can keep you holy. And hear me good, it's so important in life to have a little bit of everything, because they balance each other out. You don't just need to have marital relationships only, because here it goes, what happens when you start to get on each other's nerves? If that's all you got, who do you go to just say, I need a break from them? Or what happens in the case, God forbid, but it happens, if someone goes home to be with the Lord? And if all your life was wrapped up in that one person, you see what I'm saying? You can't make any adjustments. All of us need community of friends and people outside of spouse. And I listen, I'm not preaching at you. I'm preaching at myself, because I used to be that crazy person. We got married. I told Lady Harriet, come to me. I'm your priority. Y'all judging me over there. Come on, I said, I'm your priority. Give me your time first. But I learned a lot of that stuff was insecurity. A lot of that stuff was issues that I had. A lot of that stuff was a controlling spirit and stuff that I had to get out of me so I can free up to be who God called her to be. And some of you looking at me funny, but got your spouse locked up right now. Come on, somebody shout, free me. Come on, man. You got to give people the freedom to live. You just can't have one kind of relationship. All your relationships just can't be spiritual. Now, you can speak in tongues, but can't say hello. Come on, every now and then, man, learn how to live life. Every now and then, learn how to laugh. Watch a game, watch a comedy show. It ain't going to send you to hell. Everything can't be so high. And some of us can reach more people. Some of us can be more relatable. Some of us can help save our loved ones if they didn't always see us in a spirit of high, in a spirit of pretense, but they saw that we are real and we know what it is to be where they are. Shake somebody and say, you ain't always been that saved. Matter of fact, you ain't even that saved now. You ain't fooling nobody. Learn how to just be who you are. Oh, my God. Somebody shout, spread them out, spread them out. Spread them out. Have various kinds of relationships. And when you don't have a variety of relationships, I'm telling you, that's a red flag. Here's a red flag. Your community is not diverse enough. It's not diverse enough. Okay, it's not diverse enough. I got to have a wider spread community. If some have a creature, I got to have somebody I can go to and say, hey, I can still live life, still talk, blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? God, I just can't have faith movers and that's it. My life is faith movers. Every member is my life. No, y'all will get mad at me and leave me in a heartbeat. Come on. And if I put everything in that, now I'm mentally messed up. I can't talk enough. I'm going to live. Bump somebody and say, I'm going to live too. Spread it out. See, here it goes. It's like finances. Anybody who's real deep in finances will tell you, don't put all your money in one basket. Don't have all your money in the bank. Especially now, don't have all your money in the bank. Have some in insurance annuities. Have some in real estate. Some folk invest in gold. Some folk invest in art. Then like my grandmother did, some folk got money in the attic and just, come on, in the backyard, 6 feet deep, they got $3,000 back there. You know what I'm saying? Spread it out. Why? Because if one thing go wrong, if something fail, I still got something else somewhere else. Would you bump somebody and say, he preaching better than you saying amen? Look at this. Jesus, all right? Jesus had 12 disciples. But he also had a best friend named Lazarus, whom the Bible said he loved sincerely. He also had Mary and Martha. He also had a mama named Mary, who was dealt with him even to the very end. He also, the Bible said, hung out with sinners and tax collectors. And he ate and broke bread with them. And he had a relationship with God. He had a variety. And you need a variety. Here's a shout. Understand, you are so special, you just can't be kept to yourself. Come on, there are other people in other spaces that needs your prayer. Oh, bump somebody, say, I'm just that special. Come on, look behind you and say, don't hate, I'm just that special. I got to get out of here now. I'm going to try this one. Number 7. Here it goes. Number 7. Next one. Always consider others before yourself. Talking about rules of engagement. Always consider others before your. Philippians 2:3-4 says this. Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble. Think of others as better than yourself. Underline that. That's so deep. What's right? Look at it. Think of others better than yourself. If we all lived like that, how better our world would be. If we thought of others better than ourselves. Verse 4, don't look out only for your own interests, but take an interest in others too. In relationships, one of the ways you can do this, hear me good, one of the ways you could always consider others over yourself, hear me good, is do more listening than you do talking. All right, that's why James said, James 1 verse 19, said, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters, it's for everybody, you must all be quick. Now notice the word he uses, quick. Be intentional, be fast, be in a hurry, be quick to listen. Take your time to speak and slow to anger. Somebody said God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth because we ought to do more listening than talking. And for some of us, people can't even help us because we overtalk everybody, even people who sit to help us. Now you in counseling out talking to counselor. How many know sometimes you got to learn how to humble yourself, keep your mouth closed, and just listen to what other people have to say. And see, this is important. Look at me. Don't miss this one. This is important because remember, our relationships are a reflection to our relationship with God. And for many of us, just like we talk more than we listen with our friends, even when it comes to God, some of us talk more than we listen. So when it comes to our relationship with God, we always telling God, oh, give me this, give me this, give me this. Always asking. And we still leaving out confused because we never had the intent to listen. We just wanted to talk. But I'm here to tell you, the next level of your prayer life, the next level of your spirituality is when you grow to the point that you tell God, in our relationship, I don't want to be doing all the talking. Because I understand if I hear from you, if you talk to me, you have the power to change things in my life. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And for some of us, hear this, I'm out of here, your breakthrough is not going to be in your talking. But for some of you, your next breakthrough is going to be in your listening. Some marriages can get better this week if you did more listening than you always had to be the talker. Come on, some friendships could be better if you would listen to the other person's point of view and not always demand that people listen to you and get so offensive if they won't let you talk. Sometimes learn how to humble yourself and rest and let your ears do your ministry. And even when it comes to God, I don't know who I'm preaching to, but even when it comes to God, let me tell you, when you stop doing so much talking and you start doing more listening, God's about to tell you some stuff that's about to change your life. Oh, look at somebody and say, God want to talk to you. And I don't know who this is for, but I'm here to tell you, if you start listening, you're going to hear God say, fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thy envious of workers of iniquity, because in due time they shall be cut down like the grass. If you do more listening, some of you going to start hearing God telling you, many are the affliction of the righteous, but God brings them out. God delivers them from them all. If you do more listening, some of you who worried about what you're going through and how long you got to go through it, if you do more listening, you're going to hear God speak to you and tell you, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. If you do more listening, you're going to hear God say, be not dismayed by whatever betide you. I will take care of you. If you do more listening, you're going to hear God say that I will never leave you nor forsake you. Can I preach for 2 seconds? Would you touch 5 people and tell them God's trying to tell you something? God's trying to speak to you. So forget about what you want. Forget about what you want to say and close your mouth. Open up your ears, for God's about to tell you something. God's about to let you know, I got your back. I won't leave you. I'm going to be with you even to the end of the world. Is there anybody here that can testify like the old folks said? I heard the voice of Jesus say, come on to me and rest. Lay down, thy weary one, lay down thy head upon thy breast. I came to Jesus as I was weary, wounded, sad. I found in him a resting place, and he has made me glad. Won't he talk to you? Won't he give you what you need? Do you know it? Do you